animal bodies are very complicated.
Our bodies are wonderful machines. They have more parts and can do more types of work than any machine in the world. No machine has parts as wonderful as the eye or ear, or heart or brain. The most advanced machine cannot grow, repair parts that are injured or reproduce like our bodies can. Above all, we are able to think and love, unlike any machine or any other living thing. That is why we say that man is the supreme living thing in this world. We shall learn as much as possible about our wonderful bodies.
What allows your bodies to stay upright?
Our bodies are similar in many ways. We may not look exactly alike, but our body shapes are more or less the same. Our bodies are made up of several parts: the head, neck, trunk, arms and legs. These parts are held together by a framework called the skeleton. The skeleton is made up of bones. We cannot see our bones because they are covered by our muscles and skin. However, we can feel them. The bones of our body are hard, white, and strong. They are not easily broken. If a bone is broken, you will see a soft brownish red part in the center. This part is called the bone marrow. It makes the red and white cells of the blood. When a bone breaks, new cells begin to grow at the broken ends. More and more new cells are formed until finally the broken ends meet and join together. To find out if a bone is broken, the doctor uses an X-ray machine. This machine can photograph the inside of the body. The photographs it takes are called X-ray photographs.
Have you ever been X-rayed before?
Yes. It is painless, but it allows you to see your body in incredible ways. The picture shows an X-ray photograph of the chest. The ribs can be seen clearly. The main support of the body is the backbone or spine. It is made up of a long row of small bones joined to one another. It is found only in the neck and trunk. Animals like fishes, frogs, lizards, birds and dogs have backbones too. Bones not only support our bodies but also help to protect important organs. The skull protects the brain. The ribs protect the lungs and heart. The hips protect part of the foot canal. The spine protects the spinal cord. There are different types of bones in our bodies. Some are flat, some are short, some are long and some are irregular in shape.
How do bones allow you to move?
We have just learned about the bones. Now let us find out how they move. Our bodies can make thousands of movements. This is because the bones are not joined firmly to one another. Where a bone joins another bone, a joint is formed. There are two types of joints in the body. They are the immovable joints and the movable joints. Immovable joints are found in the skull. The bones of the skull fit so closely together at the joints that they are not able to move. Movable joints allow the free movement of the different parts of the body. The elbow, the knee, the shoulder and the hip joints are the main movable joints of the body. There are different types of movable joints. The main types are hinge joints, pivot joints, and ball and socket joints. The knee joint is a good example of a hinge joint. It works like the hinge of a door and can only bend backwards. The elbow joint is partly a hinge joint and partly a pivot joint. It is a hinge joint because, like the knee, it can bend in one direction only. It is a pivot joint because, unlike the knee, it can cause rotating movement. It allows the lower arm to rotate on the elbow. You can notice this if you turn the knob of a door. The hip and shoulder joints are ball and socket joints. In the shoulder joint, the rounded end, or ball, of the upper arm bone fits into a cup-like space or socket of the shoulder blade. This allows you to swing your arm freely in a circle.
How do the bones allow movement?
Most bones are connected together by muscles. There are more than 600 muscles in your body. They make up the flesh that lies between the skin and the skeleton. Muscles can contract and relax. Their contraction and relaxation causes body movements. Many of the muscles of the body are attached to bones and cause their movements. The bones of the upper arm and lower arm. The upper arm and shoulder. The thigh and shin and the thigh and hip are attached to each other by powerful muscles. However, not all muscles are attached to bones. The muscles of your stomach and heart are examples of such muscles.
How do we sense the world around us?
One way is sight. You use your eyes to see things around you. The part of the eye which you can see is only a small portion of the whole eye. The eye is actually about the size of a table tennis ball. Much of it lies within the skull. The front portion of the eye is made up of three parts: the cornea, the iris and the pupil. It is protected by the eyelid and eyelashes. The cornea is a transparent white part which surrounds and covers the iris. The iris is the colored part of the eye. It may be black, blue, brown or green in color. It is actually a ring of muscles which can contract and relax. The pupil is a round opening in the middle of the iris. It is always black in color. If there is too much light, the iris relaxes, thus making the pupil smaller. In this way, only a certain amount of light can enter the eye through the pupil. If there is too little light, the iris contracts. This makes the pupil bigger. Thus more light is allowed to enter the eye. Behind the iris is the lens, which is transparent. There is a space between the lens and the cornea. This space is filled with a watery liquid. There is another space behind the lens, and this is filled with a thick liquid. The layer shown in red is called the retina. It lines the space behind the lens and acts like a screen. There is a nerve which connects the eye to the brain. We see an object only when light from that object enters the eye through the pupil. The light then passes through the lens and falls on the retina. An image is formed here. A message about the image is then sent to the brain through the optical nerve. Since your eyes are so important to you, you should take great care of them. If your eyesight is good, you will be able to see things clearly. If it is bad, you should see a doctor. Your bad eyesight can be corrected by wearing a proper pair of spectacles, or through procedures such as LASIK surgery.
What is another vital sense?
Hearing. Your ears allow you to enjoy music and listen to what your friends say. You are able to hear danger signals like a fire alarm, or the horn of a motor car. If you are deaf, the world around you will be a silent one. The ear can be divided into three parts: the outer ear, the middle ear and the inner ear. The part of the ear which we see is known as the outer ear, or pinna. It is shaped like a funnel. This shape helps it to collect sounds, which are then passed to the inner ear. The outer ear is connected to the middle ear by a canal called the ear canal. At the end of the canal is a tightly stretched piece of skin called the eardrum. The middle ear lies on the inner side of the eardrum. It contains three small bones: the hammer, the anvil, and the stirrup. These are joined to each other in a chain. The inner ear contains the cochlea, which looks like a coiled shell. The cochlea is filled with a liquid. There are nerves in the inner ear which carry sound messages to the brain.
How can you hear the sounds around you?
Your outer ear collects the sounds and passes them into the middle ear. The sounds cause the eardrum to move to and fro, or vibrate. When the eardrum vibrates, it makes the chain of small bones vibrate too. This in turn causes the liquid in the cochlea to move. When this happens, sound messages are sent to the brain by the nerves. Like your eyes, you should take good care of your ears. You should not put sharp objects into your ears. If you do, you may hurt them. If you have an earache or if your hearing is poor, you must see a doctor.
What is another vital part of your body?
Your teeth are fixed to your upper and lower jaws. They help in breaking the food you eat into small pieces. Without them, you will not be able to eat food like apples, sugarcane, chocolates, roasted chicken and any other types of food that require chewing before they can be swallowed. Let us now examine a tooth. The tooth can be divided into three parts: the crown, the neck and the root. The crown is the part which lies above the gum. It is covered by a very hard substance called enamel. The neck lies just below the crown. The root is the longest part of the tooth. It is covered by the gum and lies inside the jawbone. Below the enamel lies the dentine. The dentine is fairly hard. In the middle of the tooth is a soft part called the pulp. The pulp contains many blood vessels and nerves. These leave the tooth through a hole in the root. Not all your teeth are of the same size and shape. You have 4 types of teeth. They are the incisors, the canines, the premolars and the molars. The incisors are shaped like chisels. They cut off pieces of food. The canines are shaped like pickaxes. They tear the food into smaller bits. The premolars are not as sharp as the incisors or canines. They are larger and have flat surfaces. They act like nutcrackers and break up food that is hard. The molars are bigger than the premolars and have flat surfaces. Their work is to grind the food that has been broken up into small pieces by the other teeth. In our lifetime, we have 2 sets of teeth. The first set is called the baby teeth or milk teeth. These grow when we are very young. There are only 20 teeth in this set. They fall out when we grow older, and the second set, or permanent set, takes their place. There are 32 teeth in all. The permanent set begins to grow when you are about 8 years old. If you lose a tooth from the permanent set, you will not be able to grow another to take its place. As your teeth are very important, you must take good care of them. You must brush them every day. Bits of food that get stuck between them must be removed. If not, holes will form. Visit your dentist often to make sure that your teeth are in good condition. Remember that a good set of teeth will add a sparkle to your smile.
What happens after your teeth have done their job?
A car needs fuel to move. It will not start without it. Your body also needs fuel to work. This fuel, known as energy, comes from the food you eat. Food is also needed to build up the body. The meat, vegetables or other foods you eat are to be broken down into very simple forms before they can be used by the body. The breaking down of foods into simple forms is known as digestion.
How is food digested?
There is a special system in our body which does this for us. This system is called the digestive system. The main part of the digestive system is the alimentary canal. This is made up of the mouth, gullet, stomach and the small and large intestines.
We shall now look at what happens to the food while it passes through this system. In the mouth, the teeth cut, crush and grind the food into small pieces while the tongue mixes it. In addition, a special digestive juice called saliva wets and softens the food. When the food is soft enough, it is swallowed and goes down the gullet into the stomach. The food may remain in the stomach for some time. The stomach produces other digestive juices which help to digest part of the food.
It takes about 3 hours for the stomach to become empty again after a meal. It then rests for some time. When it is time for the next meal, the stomach muscles begin to contract. This makes us feel hungry. From the stomach, the food is forced through a narrow opening into the small intestine, which is a long coiled tube. In the small intestine there are some special digestive juices which help in completing the breakdown of food. The digested food passes through the walls of the small intestine and enters the blood. The blood takes it to all parts of the body. Not all the food we eat is digested. The undigested food, also known as waste, is pushed down from the small intestine into the large intestine. From here it leaves the body through the anus.
Is this all we need to survive?
We know that air contains a very important gas called oxygen. All living things need oxygen. We shall now learn about how we take in the oxygen from the air into our bodies. You breathe in air through your nose. As air passes through the nose, any dirt and dust that may be present is trapped by the hair inside it. The clean air then passes into your windpipe and then down to the chest where the lungs are. Before entering the lungs, the windpipe branches into 2 tubes called bronchi. One tube goes to the right lung while the other goes to the left. The bronchi divide into many tiny branches called bronchioles. At the end of each bronchiole lies a cluster of very small air bags called air sacs. Each cluster looks like a tiny bunch of grapes. Each air sac is surrounded by many tiny blood vessels. This system through which air enters the body is known as the respiratory system. When you breathe in, your lungs expand like balloons which have been pumped up with air. The rush of air into the lungs is called inspiration. When you breathe out, the air from the lungs leaves the body. The rush of the air out of the body is called expiration. Inspiration followed by expiration is called respiration. You have learned earlier that the rib cage protects the lungs. During inspiration, the lungs must expand. Therefore, the chest must expand too. This happens when the chest muscles contract to pull the ribs upwards and outwards. During expiration, the muscles relax and the ribs go back to their old position. We need oxygen, but we know that the air we breathe in contains other gases besides oxygen. The lungs have an important job to do. They have to take in the oxygen from the air and to get rid of the used air. Each time we breathe in, air enters the air sacs of the lungs. Oxygen passes from the air sacs into the blood vessels. It is then taken to air parts of the body. At the same time, the used air is passed from the blood vessels into the air sacs. This air leaves the body when we breathe out.
What happens when these processes are complete?
Anything that is not wanted in the body as a result is removed by the body, is known as a waste product. When we breathe, eat or drink, we may take in some gases, food substances or chemicals that are not needed by the body. These waste products must be removed. If they collect and remain in the body, we may become sick and even die. The body removes waste products in various ways. We have learned earlier that oxygen is taken into the body when we breathe in. When the oxygen is used up by the body, a waste product is formed. This is a gas called carbon dioxide. It is expelled by the lungs when we breathe out. There are liquid waste products in the body also. These enter the blood from all parts of the body and are taken to two bean-shaped organs called the kidneys. These organs lie below the ribs, one on either side of the spine. In the kidneys there are many tiny tubes called tubules. Tiny blood vessels lie close to these tubules. The liquid waste products carried by the blood first enter the tiny blood vessels. From here they pass into the tubules. They flow through the tubules into two large tubes called ureters. Each ureter leads from the kidney into a bag-shaped organ called the bladder. The liquid waste products flow through the ureter and collect in the bladder. They remain there for some time. They form a liquid called urine. When the bladder is full, the urine is forced out of it. It leaves the body through a short tube called the urethra. Waste products are also removed by the body when we sweat. Sweat is formed in sweat glands in the skin. It comes to the surface of the skin through small openings called pores.
What about blood?
We know that blood is necessary for taking digested food and oxygen to all parts of the body. It also collects waste products from the different parts of the body and helps to get rid of them. Blood, as we all know, is red in color. If you look at it under a microscope, you will find that it is made up of red blood cells and white blood cells. There are many more red blood cells than white ones, and these give the blood its red color. The white blood cells protect the body by killing any germs which may get into the blood. Blood is pumped by the heart through blood vessels to all parts of the body. This is known as circulation. Your heart lies in your chest. It is about the size of your fist. It is divided into 4 chambers. There are 3 types of blood vessels in the body: arteries, veins, and capillaries. Arteries carry blood away from the heart, veins carry blood to the heart, and capillaries join the arteries to the veins. The heart and the blood vessels make up the circulatory system.
How is this all controlled?
When you touch a very hot object with your hand, you quickly withdraw your hand. Thus, each time you feel pain, a message travels to your brain.
How do messages travel from different parts of your body to your brain?
All parts of the body are connected to the brain by nerves. Nerves act like telegraph wires. They carry messages from the different parts of the body to the brain. Then the brain decides on what to do, and it sends messages back to the appropriate parts of the body. These messages are carried by nerves too. The nerves of the eye, ear, nose, tongue and skin carry messages to the brain about things we see, hear, smell, taste and feel. If a noise is too loud, for example, the message gets to the brain through the nerves of the ear. The brain then decides that you must cover your ears with your hands to protect them from the noise. When you want to ring the front doorbell, The nerves of the eyes tell the brain the position of the switch of the doorbell. The brain sends a message to your arm to press the switch. Most nerves in the body cannot join up directly with the brain. They have to pass through the spinal cord. This is linked to the brain. In the same way, messages from all parts of the body must pass through the spinal cord before reaching the brain. The nerves, the spinal cord and the brain make up the nervous system. The nervous system is very important because without it we will not be able to feel, smell, taste, hear and see. The brain is the most important part of the nervous system. It controls the movements of the body and sends out instructions to all parts of the body. It is made up of 3 parts: the forebrain, the midbrain and the hindbrain.
Is this the only control system?
The endocrine system is made up of a number of glands, which make liquids that go directly into the blood. These liquids contain substances called hormones. Hormones act as messengers which travel in the blood to all parts of the body. Hormones have many functions. Many hormones help the body to carry out its various functions smoothly. Certain hormones control our growth and development during danger. For example, when you are faced with a charging bull, certain hormones are released into the blood, and these prepare us for action.